guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back at one of my secret undisclosed locations because guess what? We have it. This is a 2020 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. But before we dive into this car, let's talk a little bit about the history of the Jetta. So the Jetta's been around, believe it or not, since 1984. It really was a little bit of a change for Volkswagen, especially with the success that they had, of course, with the Beetle and of course with the Volkswagen Golf. Now, the Jetta being that smaller four-door sedan, this one is a performance variation of it. The GLI, when you see those letters, which believe it or not, they brought it back just this past year, 2019 is when the Jetta GLI made a triumphant return. Seeing those three letters means you're gonna get extra performance. This is basically the four-door sedan version of that Golf GTI. Now, here's a little fun fact that maybe you don't know, or maybe you do know. GLI, what does it stand for? It literally stands for Grand Luxury Injection. So kind of confusing in today's description of the car. Maybe back in 1984, they were going for something a little bit more luxurious, but definitely you're gonna get performance. Now, this sits on the same MQB chassis as the GTI, and it uses the same power plant. Plus, the great news is you still get to have it your way, just like Burger King. You could have a manual, or you could go with that DSG, that automatic transmission setup, if you want the car to shift through the gears for you. Now, if you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, what does this car compete with? This definitely would be a car to go up against the Honda Civic Si sedan or the Subaru WRX, even though this one, just like the Civic Si, is front-wheel drive rather than all-wheel drive. But one thing is for certain, this Jetta GLI, and this one is an Autobahn trim, so this is the top trim, is really gonna bring the best of both worlds to where you're gonna have that luxury side of things, wait until you see the interior, but also the performance. So let's go ahead, dive into this 2020 Jetta GLI and see really, is it the performance compact sedan you should be buying over a Civic Si or a Subaru WRX? Right off the bat, love the color. They call it pure gray. It kind of mimics that Audi Nardo gray. It's a little bit lighter, but I think it fits the car to a T. You can see what we're working with, headlight housing design. I like the way they do nice angle cuts that fits flush with the grille. Everything on the interior is blacked out. A little bit of chrome, which kind of throws it off a little bit, but I'm glad that they just blacked out the rest of the interior, the headlight housing. Now, when you drop down, you do have this fake vent area, which I am gonna zonk. It does look good. I just wish they could have just made it a side air curtain and that would have made everything a-okay. But from this standpoint, being a non-functional vent, I am gonna zonk it, but it does, like I say, it looks really good. The flat black with the gloss, and the way that the gloss kind of wraps all the way around into the lower portion. Now, one thing that I like on a lot of German brands like Volkswagen is how they kind of integrate extra aero into the front fascia without actually sticking things on. So if you notice down here, you'll have this little lower lip extension that's flat black. That not only helps it look even better, but also gives you some extra downforce and aerodynamic efficiency. Now, when we come across that iconic grille of the Jetta, especially the GLI, you have that Volkswagen logo. Remember, it goes all the way back to the 1930s. The people's car, Volkswagen. The bright red, just like when you look at a Golf GTI, whenever you see this red trim, and definitely the GLI badge, that means you're gonna have that extra performance. And going back to the 1980s Grand Luxury Injection, you have flat black, a little bit of gloss, and I like the way that they took the gloss, made it wider up top, slim here, and then really nice red trim to make it pop, especially with the gray. Now, as you drop down, you got the same grille design on the lower portion as you have on the top portion. Of course, gonna flow all that air. And I really like I was saying, you see how this lip extension, on a lot of cars, they would stick another piece there. This, it's all molded very nicely, and it gives it a nice low, wide look. Now, as we go up onto the hood, clean German lines on it. The way they have a nice subtle rise, goes all the way towards the windscreen and then fades away. And I like the extra prominent lines that are on the outside of that, gives it that sharp look that you see in a lot of German styling, especially on this Jetta. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with? GLI with the wheel and tire setup here. So you're basically looking at this beautiful machined aluminum, gloss black. Love the style of the wheel. It's an 18-inch wheel, 225 on the width, 45 series sidewall, And then, like I said, it's front wheel drive setup on it. Now, the great news is on the Autobahn trim, standard are adaptive dampers. So what that means is you could actually change the suspension setting from behind the wheel as you're driving down the road to give you a softer or a more sporty ride, depending on what you're trying to accomplish with your Jetta GLI. But I like the clean design. You got the bright red calipers there. They did upgrade the rotor, so you have an over 13-inch rotor, fully ventilated, and they use a little bit different pad than your standard Jetta to give you some more bite as you clamp down on that nice rotor. But super clean look. We come down the side, you can see the nice sharp lines, the extra badging, just a little touch, a little sprinkling. It's not meant to look like a vent. It doesn't have to be a big, huge, emblem on the side that you would wear as a necklace, as like a pendant around a necklace. You got your GLI, the red matches nicely with what's going on in the front, and you have a little bit of chrome that matches what's going on inside the headlight housing. Now you have color match mirror caps, turn signals, slim and trim. This one, being the Autobahn, does have a sunroof. My only zonk is they should have blacked out the whole roof, especially because it has a black shark fin antenna. Would have been nice to have a totally blacked out roof here, but I do like the flat black around the window treatment. I think if it was gloss, it would be a little too much going on. So nice flat black, color matched on the door handles, and a very nice lower sill. Also flat black, matches what's going on with the front to help channel that air towards the rear. Now, as we get to the back, I'm loving the tail end of the business. You got a color matched trunklet spoiler, just enough to give it a nice look. And then you're gonna have, of course, very nicely designed LED taillights. Volkswagen does some of the best taillights, just like their sister brand Audi. Love their taillight design. You have the GLI badge. There's your Volkswagen logo there. You drop down, nice diffuser, and then simple. One exhaust on each side. It's a nice slash cut. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's powering this Jetta GLI. All right, guys, we do have the hood popped. You do have a prop rod. I'm gonna zonk it because of the location of it. I wish it was a little bit more out of the way, but underneath that hood should be something that looks very familiar to you. That is that 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. What you're looking at with that engine is you're looking at 228 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. It is turbocharged, of course, and that turbocharger is at the back of the motor closest to the firewall. And that's gonna put out 18 pounds of boost. Like I said earlier, 6-speed manual or 7-speed DSG. DSG is Volkswagen's DCT transmission. The car weighs 3,178 pounds. 0 to 60 with the manual, if you know how to dance on your twinkle toes and shift with that right arm, 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. The great news is you're gonna get an awesome MPG return, 25 in the city, 32 on the highway, and just really nice to have that overall setup. I think it's tried and true. They used it in the Jetta, in the GTI, the Golf GTI, to have it in the Jetta GLI. Makes sense. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire this up and see what sound this Jetta GLI makes. All right, guys, we're inside the 2020 Jetta GLI. What's interesting is that this Jetta GLI, being a sedan, is about 1.5 feet longer than the Golf GTI. Give you a little bit more interior space. Like I said, this one is the Autobahn trim, and we have the 6-speed manual. So price, MSRP, if you're wondering, if you're saying to yourself, Joe, I like this compact performance sedan, I definitely would get this over an SI. How much is it? You're looking at a price tag of $30,000. Now, before you drop your drink or choke on your food, that is about $6,000 cheaper than a GTI Autobahn trim. So let's see what you get for the money. Now, to the door panels, I like at the top, you have some nice soft trim. You do have a little bit of gloss black, but nothing too crazy. Some faux carbon fiber design is actually very tasteful. You have some soft material on the back portion of the door. The armrest is very hard, so that's going to be a zonk for me. But the good news is you do have a nice sized door pocket for a bottle of milk and some German Twinkies. And then you see the speaker cover design there. I like the way they kind of carried it all the way to the back of the door panel. Just give us an extra style. This one does have the optional Beats sound system. Now when we go from the door panel to the dash, soft material, the simulated stitching is nice. There's that faux carbon fiber style design. I like this better than gloss black, so I'm glad that they went with that. Now for the Autobahn trim, you actually get the upgraded 8-inch infotainment system screen. As you can see, you have performance gauges, which is really cool. You hit car, and this allows you to toggle through all sorts of information, super clear graphics, your range, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, very, very easy to use. You could go to, there's your app settings with this, but the way that they have it set up here to navigate through is very, very clear, makes sense. We go back into vehicle settings. I'm gonna have Victor stay here. I wanna show you the backup camera. There's our backup camera, no trajectory. So that's a little bit of a zonk for me, but it does have that nice size view there, which is great. And it stays on for a little bit until you start moving. Now, I'm gonna have Victor kind of showcase the different modes. So like I was telling you, with the Autobahn trim, you're gonna have those adaptive dampers. So you have Sport, you have Custom, Eco, say you wanna hug a tree, Comfort, and Normal. Who wants to be normal? We're staying Sport. That's gonna adjust the parameters of the engine, steering, and of course the shock absorbers. We go back to car setting here. You have your Think Blue trainer, which is about, you know, maximizing fuel savings and all that good stuff, but tons of different displays here. I'm gonna leave it on performance monitor. What's cool is you could change it up. Like say here, I wanna change this, so we just go like that. There's our G meter here. Or I could put it like that. So lots of ways to set it up to your liking. As you toggle down, we have some nicely integrated AC vents, heated seats and ventilated seats, dual climate control, a little bit of gloss black, nothing too crazy. And then you have a large cubby here with wireless charging and a USB, 12 volt, obviously shut off your traction control. You do have a few dead buttons, which is a surprise on the Autobahn trim. Your start stop button conveniently placed, and then of course that 6-speed manual transmission. Thank you Volkswagen for hashtag save the manuals. Like the leather boot, the red stitching is very tasteful. There's your mode selector button, 2 cup holders, and then you got a spot here. I put my garage door opener, but you could take some of those mini Slim Jims and just drop them in there. Armrest is actually softer than the armrest on the door, and I do like the stitch work. Open it up, you have some felt lining in there, so you could actually put maybe the family jewels in there and you won't scratch them up. I don't know, you may want to hold on to the family jewels, it's up to you, but put the family jewels, or you could probably drop just a box of Twinkies in there and just have your snacks as you're going down the road. Seats, Autobahn, you're getting this beautiful leather material. Love the perforated, love the stitch work. Decent bolstering, nothing too crazy. Manual though, manual seat control on the passenger side. Driver gets the electric assist. And then this one, like I showed you on the exterior, has the sunroof. So come on over though. I want to show you, thought this was good? I want to show you behind the wheel, the flat bottom steering wheel of this GLI. Come on over. All right guys, business time. Behind the wheel of the Jetta GLI. One of my favorite things, like I said, is you got the 3 pedals, and I love the nice large dev pedal. There's your clutch, your brake, and your throttle. And guess what? If you know how to heel toe downshift, plenty of room, and I like the way that they place the pedals, makes sense. On the lower sill, little fine touches like this aluminum sill panel is very nice. You do have, like I said, that electric assist for the driver with 3 memory settings. That's a lot of memory settings. I don't know if I want 2 other people to drive my Jetta GLI. I think I'm gonna drive it. I don't want them to burn out my clutch. But sitting in the seat, plenty of room. I'm 6 feet tall, I got plenty of headroom, even with the sunroof on the Autobahn trim. And then Volkswagen does some of my favorite steering wheels. Flat bottom, I love the crisscross contrast stitching, nice 10 and 2 notches, flat black on the buttons. You got that iconic Volkswagen logo. Even the way they do the GLI logo on the bottom here with the silver trim is nice. And then this one has a beautiful over 10-inch gauge pod. Now, everything is red because we're in sport mode. Now, if I change the modes, it actually will change. Like if I want to hug a tree and I'm in eco mode, now you have the blue color. Just my advice is don't hug a palm tree. It's probably gonna hurt. But nice to have on the Autobahn trim. It really kind of balances out the size, that 8-inch display, having that 10.3-inch display just balances everything out, and it really is clean, clear, and concise. Why don't we go ahead though, let's check out the back seat and see if your passengers have enough room in this Jetta GLI. All right guys, back seat time. Good news is getting in and out of this car is very easy, and there's definitely more room in here than a Civic Si for sure. You have the leather all the way around, 2 pockets, so pockets you can put a couple bananas in there, maybe a Twinkie, but just be careful. You don't want to apply too much pressure and squirt cream all over the place, but you could put an abacus in there, even a mirror if your passengers want to stare at themselves. But I like the nice soft material, and it's just the touches. You know, it's like the touches with the floor mat. You have the red trim and even the GLI badge on the floor mat. The little things all add up for the big picture. Now, here is the question mark that I have. If the Jetta GLI is meant to carry people in the back, just like the Golf GTI, I don't have any connectivity. So it'd be nice to have at least a 12 volt, a USB. I don't even need the rear AC. Rear AC would be nice at $30,000, but at least some type of connectivity here. So that's gonna be a zonk, but what's not a zonk is the amount of room. Did not move the seat. I did not move the driver's seat, so I got plenty of leg room. No pocket over here though, so I'm gonna have to put my banana on your side, and you may not want my banana on your side. Something that we'll have to have a discussion if you're riding in the back seat with me, but the headroom is great. The good news is you do have an armrest, and even though the cup holders are vertical instead of horizontal, they give you plenty of nice soft real estate for your arm, since it is an armrest and not a cup rest. But why don't we go ahead, let's check out the trunk and see how usable this Jetta GLI is as a daily driver. All right guys, time to check out the trunk space. This is one of my favorite things about the Jetta GLI. Look at the amount of room. So just like the Golf GTI, you're still gonna get tons of versatility. You have over 14 cubic feet of space. The seats are gonna do a 60-40 split, so you can put some larger objects in the car. And then here's the best part, look at this. Pick up the cargo mat area, and then you have an actual spare. No can of flat fix, a hope and a prayer to make it home. You actually could change it out and make your way home, and then get whatever tire is flat repaired, and you're good to go. But very nice space. Easy to close trunk. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take this Jetta GLI for a spin. All right, guys, we're inside the 2020 Jetta GLI. I took us to our little place here where I live. I know I don't have a ton of twisty roads, but I want to showcase some of the handling attributes and the performance attributes of this performance compact sedan, especially because we have that nice slick shifting 6-speed manual transmission. So without further ado, if you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. A screechy tire is a happy tire. That's how I live my life. On the brakes. Feeling good. Nice pedal feel. I like the way the car pivots a little bit. On the brakes. Heel toe downshift. So let's talk about that for a second. Great transition. The way the weight transfers from left to right is wonderful. I do have the traction control deactivated just to allow a little bit more slip, especially when I'm going through some of the bends and I want to kind of just let it slide a little bit. Input to the steering wheel is spot on the money. You really can get a true feel for what the front end of the car is doing, and I felt very, very planted, very balanced. And that was something that I was curious about, because driving the GTI, having that shorter, almost little lower center of gravity, I thought maybe this might be a little like you're rocking the boat kind of type of thing as you're going through the turns, but really stayed planted. And I have it in sport mode, so obviously with the Autobahn edition, getting those adaptive dampers really paid big dividends in sport mode to quicken up everything and give you a better feel for what the road is doing. And that allows you to build confidence and push harder. Having the performance gauges up is kind of cool, especially if you have a passenger or passengers in the car. The dash is super clean, super clear. I wish the throws on the transmission were a little bit shorter throw, but still pretty good. And overall, to have a manual, I'm still gonna say it. Thank you, Volkswagen, for giving us a manual. Heel toe downshifting was nice because the way the pedals are properly placed together. Visibility out the back is nice. Front is wonderful. The way the hood kind of just tapers down out of the way gives you plenty of working room to do what you need to do as you're enjoying yourself, or like I said, just doing your daily driving activities. All right, guys, let's do some more twisty bits. On throttle, first gear. Little chirp. On the brakes. Let me downshift in a second here. Decreasing radius. Yeah, this is where it gets fun. Brakes feel phenomenal, phenomenal. So, really pleasantly surprised and impressed with how the brakes feel. We're not working with Brembos or anything like that. Pedal had a nice solid feel, and every time I got on the brakes, there wasn't much change in where that pedal was going. And we've been up and down the road a couple times already to get a good feel with what the conditions are for today, and it feels really good. I got the ventilated seats on, so I'm cool as can be, and just overall a very well-rounded package. That's what I like about it. I'm noticing that with the shifts, you're not getting like a ton of rev hang like you do in a Civic Si or whatnot. So that's a pleasant thing to not have to experience. And even though the throws aren't the shortest, still very nice to road through this 6-speed manual transmission. All right, guys, here we go. Once again, on throttle, first gear. Little chirp in a second. On the brakes. Just puts a smile on your face. Watch how she dances here. I like this. One thing, I don't know if you noticed, I just actually left it in third going through those twisty bits, and where she's building boost is actually a little lower in the rev range, and I didn't have to shift. And that's one of the things is, you know, all the different cars that we drive on Rady's Rides, knowing where the best place to shift on that particular road, you know, sometimes can take a couple days for you to get used to it. So I'm very pleasantly pleased and surprised to report that even through some of that tight stuff, I was able to leave it in third, get back on throttle, and I still was in that great rev range to where she started pulling and the boost started pouring out. Remember, 18 pounds of boost from that turbocharged inline 4, that 2-liter inline 4 engine. All right, guys, hopefully you've been having fun. I've been having a blast with this Jetta GLI. I think we need to do one more, right? One more, we deserve it. So rolling start, here we go, on throttle, little chirp. On the brakes, downshift in a second. Really does a great job getting the power down. And one thing I've noticed is, like, understeer, you would think that there would be a ton, but I'm not feeling anything. Now, from a dead stop, there is a little bit of torque steer, nothing too crazy, but in the turns, she felt really good. Now, what I would like to see is a little bit more dialing in of the rear suspension so I could get a little bit better understanding of what it's doing. Because what I really wanted was, on some of those turns, I kind of wanted the back end of the car to come out just a little bit to square things off, and I wasn't able to get that done. So that's one thing, if I could change just a little bit more feeling from the back. But hey, I think an even stickier set of tires than what we got on this thing would be magical. But we got to go ahead and wrap this one up, so we will see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been another wonderful day here at this undisclosed location with this Jetta GLI. I definitely got to thank everybody at Volkswagen for allowing Rady's Rides access to this press fleet vehicle. Really, some big words sum up this Jetta GLI. Fun, versatile, and really just a perfect daily driver to where you can enjoy the act of driving no matter if you're picking the kids up from school or if you got to run down to the store, or if you have some nice twisty bits in your neck of the woods, go and have some fun. Is it a competitor to the Civic Si, the Honda Civic Si and the Subaru WRX? You better bet your bottom dollar. And my advice is you definitely want to take one for a spin before you make that final decision. But if it's cars like these compact performance sedans that you want to see on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description, get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. Got to give it out to Victor out here getting this done. He's surprised how many undisclosed locations we have here on Rady's Rides. So I'll show you some more, Victor. Don't you worry, but keep up the good work. And just like always, I'll see you on the next ride.